Good day everyone. Welcome to the GE10 Environmental Science. The instructor is Mr. Jorel Embo. Have a nice day to you, sir. Hello everyone. Welcome to my report. I am Mr. Jerome Titayko, BTE4, and one of the reporter today. And I belong to the Group 5 reporter. And my topic is all about final provisions under the Republic Act 9275, which is an act providing for a comprehensive water quality management and for other purposes. And now, let's discuss about the final provisions. Okay, so what first come into your mind when you hear the word final provisions? Okay, so let's discuss or define it first, the definition of the final provisions. Final provisions. The final provisions or final clauses are an integral part of the operative provisions of a convention and have binding force. They are technical in nature and relate specifically to its entry into force, ratification formalities, denunciation, and revision. Okay, so when we see binding force, a forces of attraction or repulsion, which is an act between neighboring particles such as an atoms, molecules, or ions. Also, when we say ratification formalities, it's all about the action of signing or giving formal consent to a treaty or either contract or agreement, making it officially valid, or it is a principal approval of an act. Okay, so this is the example. Between you and your organization, there's have a formal agreement that you are formally signed that agreement with your fully acceptance. So, that's the ratification formalities. Next is the appropriation under for the section 31. Okay, so this is the example of appropriation. An amount of 100 million pesos shall be appropriated from the savings of the national government to the department for the initial implementation of this act. So, appropriation is a sum of money or total of assets devoted to a special purpose, or a sum of money set apart for a specific purpose, or either a company of a government appropriates money in its budget making processes. So, in appropriation, you must be appropriate the exact amount of the budget and the specific purposes of a specific process. So, for example, when the Philippine Congress makes money available from the budget for military operations, so you must know the appropriate budget of that operations before you state the exact amount of the money, and it must need a proof also about that budget. So that's the appropriation. You need to appropriate the exact amount or budgets and the purposes. Next is the implementing rules and regulations under for the section 32 in the Republic Act 9275. Okay, so section 32, implementing rules and regulations. The department, in coordination with the committees on environment and ecology of the Senate and the House of Representatives, respectively, and other concerned agencies, shall promulgate the implementing rules and regulations for this act within 1 year after the enactment of this act. Okay, so when we see enactment, it is the process of passing legislation or a law. So, the implementing rules and regulations shall take effective either 15 days after the date of its posting or beyond that date. It depends on the law, either 1 year or beyond. So that's the implementing rules and regulations. Next is the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee under for the Section 33. Okay, so Section 33, Joint Congressional Oversight Committee. There is hereby created a Joint Congressional Oversight Committee to monitor the implementation of the Act and to review the implementing rules and regulations promulgated by the Department. Okay, so when we say promulgated, it is like to declare, announce, and proclaim, so that the law make known in public, that everyone can aware and follow the law or rules and regulations. So that's the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee to looking the proclamation of the law. Next is the repealing clause under for the Section 34 in the Republic Act 9275, which is Presidential Decree number 984 is hereby repealed. Republic Act numbers 6969 and 4850 as amended. Presidential Decree numbers 1586, 1152, 979, and 856 are hereby amended and modified accordingly. All other laws, orders, issuance, rules, and regulations inconsistent herewith and hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Okay, so when we see amended, it is to modify formally as a legal document or legislative bill, or make minor changes in a text in order to make it fairer, more accurate, or more up to date. So, repealing clause is a clause in a statute repealing a previous enactment or process or passing legislation or law or passed by the legislative body, so that's the repealing clause. Next is the Separability clause under for the Section 35 in the Republic Act 9275. Okay, so Section 35, Separability clause. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person or circumstances is declared unconstitutional, the remainder of the act or the application of such provision to other person or circumstances shall not be affected by such declaration. Okay, so any part of provision, representation, or warranty of this agreement which is prohibited or which is held to be void or unenforceable shall be ineffective to the extent of such prohibition or enforceability without invalidating the remaining provisions. So, void means not valid or legally binding, so that's the separability clause. The last is Section 36, Effectivity. This act shall take effect 15 days from the date of its publication in the official gazette or in at least 2 newspapers of general circulation. Okay, so the law is officially effective in 15 days after its publication or beyond that date. If you publish your law, you cannot expect that after 5 days, 10 days are already effective. No, because it's officially effective on 15 days after the date of its posting or publishing. So that's the effectivity of the law. Okay, so this is the references of my report. Okay, so I think this is done. Thank you for your attention. and listening to our report. We are a Group 5 reporters. Hope you will okay and safe in your place. Thank you and God bless everyone.